Folks, we've got violence incoming. Now, I don't want to be overly dramatic, but you're going to need to buckle up because we are going to be on a roller coaster, and if you don't have your seatbelt fastened very, very tightly, you might just fall off. I highly recommend watching this video until the very end because throughout it, we are going to be dropping a lot of information that is going to help you substantially in the coming days. A lot that we're going to be reflecting on in future videos, and we're going to be like, hey, remember, we said this and this, and then you're going to be like, damn it, I wish I had watched that video. But no, you just clicked the thumbnail and saw me screaming, and then you turned off. Main things we're going to be talking about in this video. Number one, our MSGM play just capped off a 902% run today from yesterday's briefing price to highs this morning. We got to break down what happened and what's next. Number two, I need to tell you about a new trend that you absolutely need to know about before the rest of the market wakes up to it. Number three, the CEO of GNS announced a new catalyst today. Will GNS see another breakout soon? Well, we'll discuss exactly that. And then finally, we are going to cap off this video with my take on today's FOMC meeting. Let's get right to work. So MSGM. So we briefed on this bad girl at 8:05 yesterday morning in the pre-market, and it went to $80.67 at highs this morning. That is a 902% increase briefing price to highs. 902%. I was reading our ZipTrader U chat room messages this morning, and a lot of people, well, their minds were completely blown. And I was so thrilled that I think I might have had a mini stroke this morning. So if you see any twitches, just know that it's the stroke. But I want to tread lightly here because it's when things are going wild that it's very easy for us to get carried away. When money is flying everywhere, that is when greed and ego take the wheel and crash the entire damn car. Here's the deal. Maybe you found this stock through us, or maybe you found it on your own through the setups that we teach to look for, or maybe you found it completely independent of us. That's great as well. But whatever is the case, my tip is to make sure you don't get too tingly here and balloon your ego, because that is when you're going to get yourself into big trouble. Look at this run as nothing more than what it is. Luck meeting the prepared. If you discovered this early on, like we did in the pre-market yesterday, well, the subsequent run is an example of a lot of luck meeting a lot of preparation and a lot of hard work. It's not an example of, oh, I knew this was going to run almost 1,000% day over day. It's an example of, oh, I put in a ton of work. Oh, I put in a lot of effort. Oh, I showed up every single day, and now I got lucky because of that. So if you did great on this stock, congratulations, but don't you dare for a second forget the thousands upon thousands of hours that you had to put in to research trends, to research setups, to learn risk management, to practice and practice and practice just to find the so-called easy play. Don't forget that if you want to keep finding plays like these, you have to keep putting in work that brought you to them in the first place. People that YOLO and have no risk management and have no trend identification and just get lucky, they end up just losing that money later on. So even if they made money on this stock, they just YOLO'd into it. Well, guess what? The next stock they do that, they're just going to give it back. So they're basically irrelevant. And by the way, always remember history. This reminds me of that caller run from the end of 2022. Remember, we called out Kala super early on at about $6.41 a share. It had an 844% run to $56.72. But what happened after? Where is it now? Well, it dumped all the way down to $17.35. A lot of people say, no, you're stupid if you don't buy, hold, and hope forever with these stocks. I say it's the opposite. I think you're stupid if you buy and hold and hope. So this teaches us two very, very important lessons. Number one, the opportunity is when the catalyst is hot and the momentum is consistent. Number two, you need to have risk management, aka a clear exit plan, because when the stock inevitably dives, it's going to be painful. And before we move on, if you'd like to join us for tomorrow's daily morning briefing, well, the coupon code on ZipTrader U, GNS, will be expiring at midnight tonight. And we won't be doing any more extensions. We did a lot of extensions because GNS kept making higher and higher highs, but we're going to be expiring it tonight. No ands, ifs, ors, or buts. There will be no extensions. We will have more coupon codes in the future to celebrate different squeeze stocks, but they're not going to be 50% off for a while. However, before you join us, just know that I'll never promise you that this MSGM run is the kind of result that you're going to see from us all the time. Again, the market is luck meeting the prepared. That's been true with our Kala play, our GNS play, our HKD play, and any of the other runners from this year. I don't control the market, so I can't promise you that we'll always be able to find those. But what I can promise you is that I'm going to provide you with the best damn daily morning briefing research that I possibly can do. I promise that I'm going to do my part to help you get prepared, but you have to do your part as well. You have to also show up every single day. You have to also practice risk management and strategies. You have to also do your own due diligence. Anyways, moving on, speaking of helping you identify trends, one of the trends that we did pick up in today's morning briefing was the sports gambling stock trend. They are quietly starting to wake up from their long slumber. They were little snory McSnorsters, but now, you're starting to see the eyes open a little bit. You always see a heightened trading activity in them before you get a broader inflow that starts resembling a lot of the other squeezes that we've been seeing. In that category this morning, we called out EBET and GMBL. EBET hit our bull criteria and ran 78.5% briefing price the highest today. GMBL, on the other hand, had a weak attempt upward into open and then dove, broke our bear criteria and was down like 24% when I was shooting this video, maybe more after. But I think this is very, very early, maybe a little bit premature still, but still very, very early in the waking up cycle for them. Usually when risk on comes back, the sports gambling stocks, especially online sports gambling, which is really what I'm talking about because you have the growth tech exposure there, well, those tend to be some of the last to come back in a risk on rally. And right now we're seeing risk on rally in everything, the sketchiest of stocks. And you're starting now to see evidence that it's starting to wake up in the online sports gambling industry as well. So my suggestion here, keep online sports gambling stocks on your radar because I think maybe in a week or two, a lot of them are going to wake up and you're going to be pretty damn impressed. Not just ETET and GMBL, but a lot of other ones. And you can do your own research on that. We'll be presenting ours in the briefings and then later on the channel as the weeks go by. But I just wanted to be the first to tell you this here on this channel publicly. Okay, GNS. Now, I think you're going to like this segment a lot because there's a lot to this story. So GNS, after a massive run, is in this crucial zone where people are on the sidelines watching intensely, and trying to figure out if she's going to wake up and break out to a new high. People like to judge all the time a stock based on how much it's run. They'll say, oh, well, this is already up 500%, or this is already up 100%. That means it can't run anymore. And yeah, the logic kind of makes sense, but it doesn't make sense when you're analyzing momentum. And the reason is because when you're analyzing momentum, it's not so much about how much it's run, it's about how much it's able to maintain that run. Because when there's a short squeeze candidate, the higher it maintains, the more pressure you're putting on those shorts. Put another way, if GNS was seen as a dud and a done deal, people would have sold out and it would have gone back down to nothing already. But it has enough people holding and waiting for it to break out again to a new all-time high, and that's because there's confidence that catalysts will come around in the near future to make that happen. So what is going on here on the naked short seller battlefront? Well, their CEO, Roger James Hamilton, announced this morning that they hired naked short tracking veteran Tom Ronk and his company Buy-ins-Net to track the naked shorts. I would think it'd be easy to track naked shorts. You just look at the people with their junks out, but apparently you need a whole data report for that. He shared an article from Ronk's past. Ronk apparently sold his first report on naked short selling in 2005 to the CEO of Overstock, who was then Patrick Byron. And that report caused Overstock to file many lawsuits against brokers that had permitted that practice, which they then eventually got vindicated in. Overstock was eventually vindicated by collecting almost $35 million in settlements from firms like Goldman Sachs and Bank of America's Merrill Lynch. So very, very big dogs here, right? And get a load of this. Executives who complain about short traders are commonly derided on Wall Street, and Byron recalled the New York Post published a picture of him with a UFO flying over his head. This is what I found online when digging for it, and it claims to be the one that they originally published back then in 2007. So let's be real here. In this market, if you call out legitimate fraud, guess what they're going to call you? They're going to call you a conspiracy theorist. You're obviously a lunatic. LOL, hedge funds doing something illegal? Oh, bet they faked the moon landing too, right? Oh, I bet there's aliens out there too, huh? Folks, anytime you see anything unfair that's happening in the stock market, just remind yourself that that's not really unfair. You're just a conspiracy theorist. Now, of course, this goes both ways though. If small cap CEOs have had bad performance in their stock, well, they might be incentivized to blame naked short sellers or just very, very aggressive short sellers for their bad performance. And then they can create this whole charade that it's all the short sellers' fault. So you got to be very, very careful. As the great philosopher Samuel L. Jackson once said, there are too many snakes on this MFing plane. The market is just a plane filled with snakes everywhere. You think you got away from the snake, and then all of a sudden you got 5 more behind you. Funny enough, by the way, Overstock CEO Patrick Byron stepped down last year, and the reason cited is hilarious. According to Wikipedia, he resigned as CEO in August 2019 following revelations that he had been in an intimate relationship with a Russian spy and future politician, Maria Butina, who was with Vladimir Putin's United Russia Party. Pretty funny. Come on, folks. Do you see this kind of stuff in the mega cap market? No, this is just the small cap market. So entertaining. And this is real, by the way. Google it. Maybe I'm the only one that missed this story, but this is crazy. Sometimes I feel like we live in a comedy movie. It's sometimes a comedy and sometimes a very poorly written tragedy. But anyway, someone asked GNS's CEO what happens after if naked shorts are found, and he said, tracking enables companies, number one, to sue the bad actors for damages and win based on losses incurred through stock stock manipulation, which could be quite a lot. Number 2, to share clear data with the SEC, etc. That cannot be denied. Over time, a mountain of incriminating data must force reform. And he's encouraging a lot of other stocks to follow this process. And this entire process for GNS specifically is, in my view, going to continue to keep GNS very, very relevant for different attention-flocking catalysts, which means more rolling trading opportunities. Yes, big sell-offs like we've already seen, but I think that GNS is only going to sell off so much, and you're going to see some more breakouts in the coming weeks and maybe months. This might be on there for a while unless he backs down, but I don't think he's going to be backing down. Also, I do want to mention, funny enough, their CEO, the GNS CEO, actually followed me on Twitter yesterday. I've always wondered if execs ever watch my commentary, and I'd love for somebody to record their reactions. It's also hilarious because the coupon code on our program is literally his ticker, GNS. He probably thinks I'm a complete whack job if he saw that. Well, good thing that coupon code expires tonight. But it's funny because I've literally said that one of the main reasons that I like this stock as a catalyst hype play is because its CEO is an attention whore. Imagine him tuning into one of these videos and he's like, oh, Charlie's going to talk about the fundamentals, what we're doing on the balance sheet, so on and so forth. And I'm just like, no, I like the stock because the CEO is an attention whore. But I mean, the guy literally has futurist in his Twitter bio. When you are self-describing yourself as a futurist, you know you want attention. You know that you're a bit of an attention whore. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, everybody has their own shtick. All I'm saying is this guy knows how to get attention. He hired an ex-FBI agent to investigate shorts. Why do you do that? Because it gets a lot of attention. He's going on interviews talking about how this is a battlefield where short sellers are attacking his company. All of this stuff is bode very, very well to bring in people to buy his stock. So that's what I'm going to say. He's done a very, very good job of that. I don't know him personally. He just randomly followed me on Twitter. I don't have a position in the stock, anything like that. I'm just telling you like it is. I think he knows that attention is a currency in and of itself, and that is what can drive short sellers to massive, massive losses and GNS to massive, massive gains. And what has already done that to some extent. Quick rundown on the FOMC meeting today from the Fed. In my view, today's meeting was the least hawkish meeting in over a year. The Fed went with the expected 25 basis points, and while they told markets we may raise rates even beyond December, markets didn't believe them. For the first time, the Fed acknowledged and harped even on current disinflationary trends, and even though Powell talked for a while and did a little bit of beating around the bush, what markets heard net and in effect was, hey guys, pow here, we aren't going to stop your rallies, so go for it. That's basically my 30-second rundown on today's meeting. And if the Fed continues along with this narrative, I wouldn't be surprised if you see markets get substantially more frothy because the Fed said we won't fight you. Over the long term, though, and you already know how I feel about this, but I think this is going to promote far more instability in the market and probably end up hurting the Fed's own objectives. But at the same time, look, if the Fed wants to induce massive euphoria buying, I am not going to be upset by that. One of the things that I've learned time and time again through a lot of pain is that whether or not you agree with the Fed, you certainly don't fight it. Anyways, folks, that caps off today's video. Make sure to hit that ravishing like button and subscribe. Make sure to check out that link to ZipTrader U. Coupon code GNS expires tonight. And of course, if you want to sign up for our first free research report, which will be going out about once a week, and the first one's going out soon, make sure to go to that ZipTrader.org link down below, ZipTrader.org/sign up or something like that. If you click the link down in the description, it'll take you to that website. Have a good one, folks. We'll see you in the next video.